Welcome back on Darkenss. Today I want to propose you a video about unboxing review about the White Dwarf issue 479 released by Darkenss shop at August 2022. And as you can see, we have here a big content. So we have the White Dwarf itself and other options that we'll see quite soon. And there is also a restyling about the contents of the White Dwarf itself. Here we can find the contents inside. So we see also about the restyling. Sincerely, I don't find the restyling quite okay, so amazing or so on, but it's nice. It's up to you to decide if it's okay for you or not. So we can take the things out of here and see the contents. First thing, it's here that it's something that we have with the Nephilim option that we find in the chapter approved or Capitulum Probabit of 2022, and here we have that one. It's the same, but remember, it's not a must to have the White Dwarf to have this, because it has been released in the Warhammer community site section, the facts, the part about all the points, and are free, so you can find them in the app and on the site, so you can download them without any problem at all. So anyway, it's a nice thing because I like that there is this. It's much more comfortable to bring with you, so on. But remember that it's not a must-have, because this is a quite good add-in. I like the cover, so on. But it's not something that if you don't have, you don't have a lot of things. So remember that there is something that you can gain a lot, for example, for a mage or so on, that you can use eventually if you don't use for other things. Still, it's a bonus, not a must. And then we go to the inserts other than the manual of the points. Here we have this, that it's about underworld with a sort of campaign related about. So as you can see, we have a lot of progression about, but we'll see later in the website itself. And here we have this, that it's the continent of Rondol, that it's on Gur, the plane of Gur for Age of Sigmar. It's quite nice. It's a map at the end, and it's something that you can simply decide maybe to make a sort of mage, to make something like a paint or so on, to append on the room or so on, or simply to use as it is, not worry too much, and okay, it's that. And then we have these that are related about a campaign, related about Age of Sigmar. So we have a lot of things that can be used from here. And about these ones, remember that you can simply photocopy them and use them freely, because this it's one and the campaign is from 2 to 8 players. So you have the authority from the Game Workshop to make a copy of such things. It's quite nice, but I not go deep in this, because you have to decide that it's worth to play the campaign to be able to use such ones. So you decide if you want or not. I'm not quite interested. I like the background, that one I like, and I'll improve my knowledge about it. Still, I'm not interested to play such campaign, simply it. And here, the new White Dwarf. And as you can see, we have seen a difference here in the cover as it's done. Sincerely, I don't like it so much, because they brought on the back the amount of info that previously were on the front. It's not bad, but at the same time, it's not so amazing. It's not so great, sincerely. And I don't like that there is such thing that it cover the cover itself. So, okay, it's done. There are many more changes inside, but the external, sincerely, I don't find it so great, because okay, there is, but well, okay, simply it. Here we can find the alternative cover, I'd say, but it's the same cover, simply free of every, I can say, dirty thing that there are. So it's okay, and I'm quite curious to see in the future if it will be from the subscription, because you have to be subscribed to have such cover. There will be the option to have always the same cover, but free of everything dirty one, or there will be alternative covers as it was before, so I'm quite curious about it. And here they declare what they put inside, simply it. Here are the contents. This one we have seen at the back of the White Dwarf itself. And here we can find the mini list of the readers to the White Dwarf. And there are a lot of things to see. First of all, this one, that it's a crown. But if you are asking yourself how big it is, think that this is a face, a real human face. I mean, human size. So this is something that you wear, literally. And oh, wow, okay. And really, I myself had to make a photo about such image and see better the details. And even then, I think that it's too rich about it, because there are a lot of things. Other than this, anyway, there are options about how to paint alternative, a sort of diorama that you can create, that I always suggest you to see about the images, that can be quite interesting. Here we have this, that it's about to paint corn, but I realized the diorama that sincerely I prefer much. Here we can find that there are simple bases, maybe, but see about this. A little thing, but change completely the mood. And I think that it's quite interesting that way. Here we have how the same model can completely be different. We've simply changed the painting scheme, a little about it. Here we can find words of Warhammer, where you can find the word of house. So how it's positioned, how it's everything done. And I think that it's quite interesting, this thing, because we can understand better how it works, the Warhammer itself, about the planes and the realms themselves. So quite interesting. Here we have data about Age of Sigmar. So we can find here this, that it's about the, okay, let me open, Stomp. So a sort of way to understand better how they are done, the Somos themselves. Here the envoys of Enderarme, that are my favorite army about Stormcast, the one that I'm collecting so much that I painted all my models as it. So as you can see, I use a lot of different ways to make the models, and this particular type with the inks and so used instead of the normal one in the video that you can find in the description, because I'm still testing, because I like to play the envoys of the number. And here you can find different armies with different schema colors that they correspond to different things. About here, I suggest you to go to see about such miniatures. Spend a little time, because the scheme of colors can be interesting, but also some modifying, because there can be really quite a lot of interesting things. Okay, here you have also the scheme of colors, so if you like something, you have the option to replicate it. And here you have simple things, but see here, it's a conversion. It's a complete host made by a conversion, and I love such thing. I really like a lot. So I suggest you to take a note about such things, because little things can make a lot of different options. Think about here that there is this, that it's a little change that can be quite interesting. Think about this. You can see what's the problem? The helmets that has been changed to make them the knight and completely change how they are perceived. So it's a good thing. And here we have the description about the rodel. Remember what I made you see before? This image, we have the printed one, and literally this one is a sort of nemesis of myself, because it's the nemesis for geologists, because it's completely a rebellion, carnivorous, destroyer continent. So okay, and here there is a lot of background that can be quite interesting to know better about Gur. So I suggest you to read, because you can be quite interested about it. And here we had the fresh point that it's about the campaign itself. Remember the schedules that I made you see, so these ones that we've seen. So this it's an explanation how it works, and sincerely I find it really quite interesting. Here we have the rules of engagement, and sincerely I find it quite boring, this one, because It's simply how you can develop an army. It's simply it's not something that is particularly interesting. And here we have about underworld. Remember the campaign that we see in the scheme? Here it's applied. In fact, we have this one that it's the one next to better the other side of the continent that we've seen. So it can be useful if you are interested about playing underworld. And okay, simply it. I don't play it, but it's nice. Then we go about Warhammer 40k. Such images are always quite amazing to see. Here we have this, that it's echoes from warp, and here it's a way to create your army by the 40k. So what you can see and so on. I don't like, sincerely, the last two articles in such a way, this one and the previous one, because I don't find them quite interesting, quite done in a good way. Okay, here we have Kitima, and here we have a thing. There is the team, the White Dwarf, that is created the team of the Kitima, and then they are playing. So it's a sort of update of what they've done for the team, and also other options that can be models or Shenix. So it can be quite interesting. Also that one. Here I find quite interesting about the images themselves more than the text. Okay, there is the schema colors that eventually you can use and have fun with, but I don't find them quite nice. Here we have instead the campaign about Warhammer 40k, that it's about Nephilim. Remember that there has been the releasing about the chapter proved that it's related about Nephilim itself. And here there are the images that are always amazing, and also the background that it's a way to see a progression about the background. So it can be really quite interesting for the ones that you can appreciate. And there is also an update of rules about the Crusade related about Necrons, so the dynasties of the Necrons, so the Tsarkan, the Sautek, and so on. So there is quite a lot to see and eventually appreciate if you're interested about such type of campaign. And here we have something that I find really quite intriguing, because it's an army based on the models related about, these are Horus Heresy, okay, but these ones are the, try to guess, yes, the normal Primaris, but converted so that they can have the same weapons of the Horus Heresy, and they recall the White Dwarf in this case that we're seeing here. And there is quite a lot of interesting things, because if you go to see here, you can find that there is a lot of modifying changes and so on, but also, for example, this, that it's a conversion about Tycho, and it's okay, this should be Dante, not Tycho, but anyway it's called by Tycho, but this in the one that it's from the third edition, it's Dante, not Tycho, even if it's without the jetpack. And I find it quite interesting, because you can see a lot, particularly if you go to see, because there is, for example, the detail about the chaplain and the librarian that has the legs that are black and white here, and here there is the red armor base on the legs, instead the blue classic one here. So there are quite a lot of interesting things that you can appreciate if you like. Obviously there is the schema colors on, but I find it quite nice. Remember that in the description there is my way to paint the red armor and the black armor if you're interested. And here instead we have a battle report that is about the Imperial Fist against the Necrons. Here, sincerely, I like a lot, because you can appreciate a lot about the schema color, that it's something that I really like. This should be the Thoth dynasty. In fact, it's the Thoth, and it's a dynasty that I appreciate, even if I chosen a complete different schema colors related about such models. So remember that you have to decide, because my schema color is this one, so it's a completely different one about the Necrons. I preferred such type, simply it, even if maybe a second army about the Necrons I'll paint with such schema, because it's quite nice. And here we have about the Imperial Fist, as I said, based on the Primaris ones, so it can be quite interesting. About such battle reports, as usual, I say some things. First of all, it's quite useful, because you can see how it's played Warhammer 40k from the source. Then you can use this to simply see some change, some modify, see about some details about shining elements, or simply go to see about something that you don't play. So maybe you don't play Warhammer 40k, and here you can see how it's played. That can be interesting. You can see some photos that can be a way to understand maybe some way to modify, because maybe the battles on can inspire you to make some conversion. So there are a lot of things that you can see about such things related about the battle reports. It's up to you to decide if you're interested, anyway, as always. Still, sometimes can be useful and interesting, simply it's not something better. And here we have instead something that we are seeing in the previous White Dwarf, and we are going to develop in the next one, and it's about the battle for Barbarous. So we can see here the armies that are prepared for playing with it. So here we have the different armies that are related about the, for example, this, it's about the Raven Guard. Here we have about the Space Wolf. So all the armies that are going to be played there. Here the Darkenss, here the Sons of Horus, sorry. Here we have about the Iron Warriors. Here about Death Guard. That sincerely I'm really quite thinking about making my Horus army related and made with the painting of the Death Guard, because I like a lot. And here there is the background of what we'll go to see about the next battle report that will be that it's related about Barbarous. In fact, we have the part related about the shining elements. So it's the battle that it's to Ophelia, and it's a way to understand the battlefield that it's painted, created, related about a specific theme. And there is quite a lot of interesting things. Okay, forget about this. This it's something that it's even too much as a conversion, because too much to have such one. Still, you can in some way, maybe with some paper card or so on, try to replicate it. It's better these ones, even if they are not so easy to have. And then we had the Black Rebel with the Crime, Warhammer Crime, that can be quite interesting. And as usual, I suggest you or to read it because you like, or to read it because you can know a theme that you usually don't read about, because maybe you prefer Warhammer 40k, and then you have Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Crime, that it's about investigation and horror or so on, or you can see other things. You can know new authors that maybe you like how they write, and so you can then appreciate something else that they've written. Also on, it's a good thing as usually to search and have fun with. They had this that is inside the studio that anticipate what we'll see in the next White Dwarf, so it can be interesting. I like this one because you can understand how you can convert and make different models from the same. Think about this, the same model but different options. Think about this, same model but different ways. So there is little things that make it quite a lot of personalization in a lot of different ways. So it can be really quite interesting. Then in the next one there will be the Warhammer 40k modular map campaign, and I'm quite interested to see about this sincerely. And then there is the end, that is this one with the Necron and Tau. So I'm quite curious about to see what will be in the next White Dwarf. So what to say about such White Dwarf? Sincerely I find it good, a lot of inserts. The part about the points, it's a bonus, that it's not useless but not so useful, because it's free one from internet without any problem, from the site official one of the Games Workshop. If you're interested about the campaigns, there are a lot of things here, so maybe it's a little about the end of the COVID, and so there will be a better usage of such one, because you can a bit better, a bit more free to find other people and so on and to play. So it can be a good thing to create a new army or restart your way to play. It's a good thing. And so there is quite a lot, but this time I appreciate this more because the ideas that are inside, the conversion, the painting, a lot of details that there are. I think that that it's what make me appreciate this specific weather more. Obviously, it's up to you to decide if it's worth or not your time and your money to take it. But I can suggest this. Sincerely, I don't find the changes of the graphic and so on so much better, and maybe I prefer the old one. Okay, it's my opinion, but anyway, maybe I have to see more to make myself, I can say, better. I can understand better maybe such changes seen along the time, but sincerely, I don't find not so bad, not so good, simply change, but it's not something really revolutionary, simply it. So eventually, tell me about what you think about such WDF in the comments under here. So, from Dino Mode, it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.